topics that we have for you today. So first up, piggybacking off of his StreamYard, we have Oofman. So shout out to Oofman. Thank you very much. He's here with us. How you doing, Oofman?
Doing good, Papagino. Gentlemen, it's going to be an awesome night, and let's talk some lucha libre.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Oofman. And we've got Dave returning as well. Dave, how you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having me, Gino. And I'm right behind Oofman. Let's get some good talk about some professional wrestling.
Absolutely. I've got a few topics today that I think it could be generative of a conversation. But before we get into that, we have making his debut on the major roster. We have the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. JJ, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. It's nice to be here. Good to be on your show. I've been enjoying it from afar for a minute and appreciate the offer to come and join you guys this week. So let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for the support. And speaking of support, everybody, do not forget to hit that like button, leave a comment. I'll be bringing the comments up on screen like this. You can see your comment, and we will address any decent questions you might have. And it's fun and it's free. So take advantage of that. And we've got, don't forget to like and subscribe as well, all that fun stuff. You guys have been on YouTube long enough to know what you're supposed to do and how to support. But with the algorithm being so good, sometimes we forget to subscribe to the channel, but we watch all their videos. You just forget to hit that button. So don't forget to hit it. And we are going to get right into the action. So the topics that I have today, I picked because I feel a certain type of way about these things, and my panelists and the viewers out there might have a different way that they feel about that. And that's the best part of this, is that we get to have this discussion and conversation. So let's talk about it. So we're going to start off with the Night of Champions pay-per-view premium live event. However you want to address it. I know it's supposed to be called premium live event. It's just difficult for me, and I'm sure it is for you guys to have that switch in your vocabulary. But we're going to be talking about some of the matches there. But as a whole, right, the card now is going to have 6 matches on it. Where they're doing the 2 matches on the ESPN, not pre-show. It's just like the first hours on ESPN. And though it's not free, for the purposes of this discussion, we will call that the free portion of the event. But then they're going to have 4 after that. Usually they've been doing 5 matches or 4 matches, which is understandable in the case of the Royal Rumble, which go an hour plus. Elimination Chamber matches, things like that, War Games, they're all minimum 30-minute matches without anything. Gino with the background upgrade. Yeah, I'm here out of town traveling. So we've got the grandparent office here. It's pretty swanky. I feel very official in here. I'm giving Noah Foster vibes here with the photos on the back and stuff like that. Shout out to the Simple Man. But we're going to get right into it. So we got the 6 matches for Night of Champions. It's not the 9 to 12 that AEW is doing, but it is more on a night where there's no gimmick matches that relate to length of the match, right? There's obviously the King and Queen of the Ring and all that stuff. But as far as it comes down to the matches having to be a while, these matches can, they're not minimum time length requirements. So they're fitting another match on the card. And I want to know if we think this is a good idea, a bad idea. For me, I know that I enjoy like this happy medium. We don't want to have to be up all night, but fortunately this is during the day for us in the United States. So we're going to talk about this. Usman, you're one of the big fans of AEW in the No DQ Galaxy. So you, by default, have to prefer longer pay-per-views because that's what you get with that company. But with WWE, you've also been outspoken about shorter, fewer matches being an issue. So how do you feel? Do you feel like they're listening to us, or they're just doing it for this only because the Saudis want it? Where are you at with this, Usman? Go ahead.
Well, unlike last time, it's like you said, ESPN will get their 2 matches, and then now for $30, I guess with the app, you're getting 4. So that sounds like a bargain because last time it was the 2 matches on ESPN, and then all you had was 3. So I'm actually, like you said, I'm all more is for WWE side, more is better as a customer, as a consumer of that. So I'm happy. Like, all right, cool. They have 2 matches on ESPN and then 4 on the PLE part of it. Fine, the more the merrier, as long as the matches make sense. Like we could rant about AEW and just throwing 75 matches on their card and all that jazz. But for WWE's sake, I personally would like a little bit more, like you said, to find that happy medium. So 6 matches on the card. When I found out it was only 6, like, oh, okay, cool, we're getting there. But I'm pretty sure for the next PLE, they'll probably go back to 5, and it's like lame. But like you said, the Royal Rumble gets usually 4 because of the 2 Rumble matches go an hour plus. But again, I'm trying to find it as a consumer. If I'm paying $30 a month for this PLE, I would like a good, not only a good card with the matches, but I would like a good lengthy card. Yes, not too long, because if it starts at 7, all right. If it ends at 10, 10:30, that's still not too bad. I get it. AEW does start at 8, and then they go till midnight, but that's the AEW shtick. And that's fine for AEW, but for WWE, for this one, I'm happy. But I think I'm kind of agreeing with you. I think it's because it's the Saudis, and they probably said we need to be different from everybody. So, is this a little preview of next year's WrestleMania, where this year was 7 and 6 matches? Will next year be like 8 and 7, 8 and 8? Who knows? Where the Saudis want their money, get what the Saudis want their money's worth. Forget about us, the consumers. Will the Saudis demand getting their money's worth when it comes to pay-per-view lengths, and especially for Saudi Mania next spring? So I'm happy with 6 matches. Hopefully this could be it for the future, where Hunter produces 6 matches every pay-per-view. And yeah, like you said, it is in the afternoon. If I remember that it's in the afternoon this Saturday, I'll catch it. If I won't, or I'll maybe catch a replay, or a shout out to Aaron, I'll catch out his review. But yeah, I'm happy with the 6 cards there. 6, 7, or 8 matches, I think, is an okay medium. Even AEW, we just spoke earlier, as of right now, has 9 matches, which is good. Hopefully they don't add like 7 more after Dynamite and then or Friday night before the show on Sunday. But I'm happy with the 6, and I hope this is the happy medium for the rest of either the year or the rest of the time.
Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, the 6 matches that we have for everybody watching, we have the 2 King of the Rings finals. So Jay versus Oba, which we'll be discussing in length in a little bit, and Liv versus Io, which we'll also be discussing. And then we've got the United States Championship match, Trick Williams and Ricky Saints. And then we've got what I believe would have been Jade versus Rhea, but it's Jade versus Tiffany for the title now. And then we have Braun and Seth. I don't know how many times they're going to do this, but you got to get Seth on the card. And speaking of getting somebody on the card, you've got Sami Zayn in that triple threat for the WWE Undisputed, even though it's disputed very much, and championship with Gunther and Cody Rhodes there. So if the Saudis do have say in some of the things, to me, I feel like it's that Sammy's on the card. I don't know if they can say, we want this many matches. And if so, haha, here's Trick Williams, which is great for them, but here's Trick versus Ricky Saints. I personally like Ricky Saints, but I don't know if I'm paying these big bucks that I'm like, that's who I want to see on my show. But they started with that whole, they're getting Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Kane, all these people out of basically retirement. So it feels like they have a say. But who knows this far into their deal? Because I believe we're coming up on the end of their deal shortly here in a couple of years. So
in 2 years, 2028. Yeah,
in 2 years. So we'll see what that situation is. But we all knew it was going to lead to a Saudi Mania at some point, and we're getting that. But okay, so thank you so much, Uthman, for that. And for those who missed it, I put a poll up in the chat. You just type the number corresponding to the answer, 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1 being 4 matches, 2 being 5 matches, 3 being 6 matches, and 4 being 7+ matches with your ideal. Now I'm going to throw it over to the debut of the Renegade here on Major Push Wrestling. JJ, how do you feel about Night of Champions specifically going to 6 matches, and where's that sweet spot for you?
Well, first of all, I gotta commend you for pointing out the fact that the WWE Championship is disputed. That's been a huge bone of mine for a minute. Stop calling it undisputed when there's a world heavyweight title.
Same here. That's why I refuse to buy that belt.
Right,
But
because it has
that,
undisputed written on it. Otherwise, I don't think they would be saying it.
but that being said, I came up in an era of professional wrestling where pay-per-views were 2 hour 45, 2 hour 55 minutes long, 7 to 8 matches a show. And you had Sunday Night Heat leading into that with 2 or 3 matches as well. Which that basically would now, by today's standards, be your buy-in, your 0 hour, your countdown show. Granted, Heat ran every week, even if there wasn't a pay-per-view, but on the weeks of the pay-per-view, you still had additional matches that kind of tied into the grander scheme of the show. So for me, 7 to 8 matches, I think, is the sweet spot. I like that this show has 6 instead of 4 or 5. I think the key when it comes to the pay-per-views, though, is the advertising. It doesn't matter how many matches are on the show when you've got all the advertisements. I miss the days where we got pay-per-view video packages to hype up the next match. There's a reason why Austin Rock WrestleMania 17 My Way lives rent-free in fans' brains, because stuff like that was so good. I understand ads during the weekly television broadcast, but for the premium live events, there should not be any. None. I could maybe excuse one just before the main event, just as a little bit of extra, bathroom break time before you get into that last major match. But these advertisements before and after every single match on the show, taking away from time that could be given to an additional match on the card. That's where I have my major issue. But seven matches, maybe 8, somewhere between that 6 and 8 range, I think, is the sweet spot for me, Gino.
All right. Thank you so much, JJ. Very well put. And we love having you here. You're great at sharing your opinion, and you're great with the work that you do on your channel. We will plug that here at the end for sure. And it will be in the description of the video as well. So everybody go check that out when you're done watching this. Now, you did bring up a point that I did want to address, and I actually already had WrestleMania 17's card pulled up for this discussion, and then you bring it up, and I can't see any better time than to discuss this. So we'll do this right here before we throw it to Dave. So WrestleMania 17 X7 had 12 matches, including the pre-show Sunday Night Heat, whatever. That match, which was 2 minutes and 46 seconds. We also had the Taz and APA match, was under 4 minutes. China defeated Ivory in under 3 minutes. Iron Sheik won the Gimmick Battle Royal in under 4 minutes. Right. Eddie Guerrero was defeated Test in under 9 minutes. Kane and Raven and Big Show under 10 minutes. William Regal, Chris Jericho under 8 minutes. So, there were a lot of matches on that card, but not all of them are given the time, right? Like that these 6 matches are definitely going to have. Each match is basically going to have their half an hour to shine. And speaking of a half an hour, the Stone Cold and The Rock went 28 minutes and 8 seconds. I don't know if that's counting the post-show shenanigans, right? But it kind of forces you to be like, okay, well, do we want a lot of matches, but not every match is given, maybe time to breathe? Is that how you make a good card? You have the undercard, be what it is, and then the main event is the shine, is the whole thing. So that's kind of where my head goes, because with AEW being, 9 matches so far, every one of those matches is going to be given 20 plus minutes, right? So that you're going to be in it for the long haul, right? And almost to the point where you're like, if you want to take a bathroom break, at least in the past, it used to be, well, this is the bathroom break match. How Like, I would rather have ads to go to the bathroom for during than disrespect. Not that you guys are, you in particular, or anybody out there is intentionally trying to disrespect the wrestlers by calling it a bathroom break match. But, you know, usually that was reserved for the women. But it's like, if we don't have a bathroom break match, but we have more ads, like when I watched it with the watch party, I'm drinking and I got to go to the bathroom. I don't want to go in the middle of the action, like during the regular televised matches where they commercial during the matches, and it takes me out of it. But that's definitely just something that I wanted to throw out there in the universe and let people's brains percolate on that. Just because, yeah, 12 matches, but I mean, we saw people complain about shortness of matches at WrestleMania, so I'm trying to see where that line is between it working and being the best pay-per-view of all time and it not working and being disappointing. So I'm not saying that you're specifically taking one side or the other, JJ, but go ahead.
See, and again, I feel like there's a happy medium there because in lieu of the advertisements, we can go back to backstage promos. You know, back in the day, and it didn't matter if it was Michael Cole, Lillian Garcia, Mean Gene Okerlund, you'd do the opening match. Like let's assume, just because we don't know the match order here, but let's assume that the opening match is going to be the U.S. title, Trick and Ricky Saints. After that match, you go backstage and you get an interview with Sami Zayn. Then we can go to Tiffany and Jade. Then after that match, we go backstage and we get an interview with Gunther. Then we do the Queen of the Ring finals match. Then you go backstage and you get an interview with Cody. You know, and now you've had interviews from all three participants in your main event for the WWE Championship. Again, not calling it undisputed. For the WWE Championship, you've saved on advertising and you've used those backstage segments to build more anticipation towards the match.
I like that. I do like that. Now, the opportunity is there for something like AEW because you're paying per view, right? Or however many times you get to watch it. And it feels like the new way that WWE is doing things is part of the problem, not just because they want to do a lot of advertisements, but it feels like that's their, like, when it was $9.99, like, we really couldn't complain about the ads, because if you go on the high seas and you or you're paying like very discounted rate for something that you know you're getting a great value for, you're willing to put up with a little bit of ads. Like my buddy, I don't condone this, but my buddy watches a lot of movies on the high seas, and they got these scrolling little things, and every like 10 minutes a big loud commercial comes up in the middle of it. But it's like, you deal with that because you know you're getting that value. Now if you're paying $30 a month, you're probably only watching these events one time through. You're not really going back, probably not going to watch Tuesday afternoon baseball games and University of Omaha, Nebraska, cornhole games or whatever's on the ESPN app that comes along with it, right? That is, so like I do get like that they have to do these types of things, and so that's why I wanted to propose this question, because with the more matches and the things, you're staying up later, whether you have the commercials, whether you don't. It's all great questions. So, but I like the way that you booked that, especially in getting it's about cornhole equals ratings, absolutely. But it's about keeping the people interested throughout the show, right? And now, because if you have somebody giving an interview about what's going on later in the night, or in past WrestleManias, they've had stuff happen backstage, like we had the Rock and Stone Cold face, do a little talking segment backstage at one of the WrestleManias, like because they were just happened to both be there. Like that keeps you interested in the show. That makes you want to watch to the end and not just be like, well, I'll just go to bed and see what happened tomorrow, or I'll catch it later. And so that's why I feel like TV should be doing that too. Like and the best WWE television that they do is when you have somebody through lines throughout the night, and it's not just this, then this, then this, type of stuff. So well done, JJ. Hopefully WWE is watching and they decide to do it that way. But I do think that Trick Williams and Ricky Saints is going to lead off the show. I think that's a really good idea. But we'll have to see on the predictions, no DQ predictions tomorrow, what you guys predict with those winners. Now we're going to throw it over to Dave. He's been very patient. No birds squawking in the background. Very respectful. We appreciate it. Dave, you've heard what the other gentlemen have had to say. What are your thoughts? And where's your ideal match count?
Well, first of all, thanks for shout out with the bird on the review with no DQ. A shout out to them on Tuesday. But I put 3 or 4 in our chat because my sweet spot is either 6 or 7. I think the sweet spot's right there because we've gone from 4 to 5 in the last one, now to 6. And I like JJ's point because if you're going to name it a premium live event, I don't consider premium having ads the whole show. Right. I don't see problem with putting ads at the beginning and at the end, and then just let the wrestlers wrestle and have those backstage interviews like JJ said. I think that's a great idea. It's a wonderful idea because I want to see the reactions of everybody before. They've started to do a little bit more of it, even on the regular shows. And I think they need to do that in the premium live events and get them face up before the matches. I think it'd be pretty cool. And I think the reason is twofold for the 6 matches. One, I think Saudi does have a say in it. And I think we're going to see more at WrestleMania because of it. And 2, if it wasn't for the King and the Queen of the Ring finals, it could have been less too, because we have to have some championship matches because it's called Night of Champions. So I could see why there's 6, because you had to do that Queen and King of the Ring finals here too. So I think it's just a twofold answer. And I think we're going to probably in the next, we don't have a PLE before SummerSlam, do we? We just have Saturday night's main event, right?
Right, at Madison Square Garden, though. So it's going to be
the
so
Garden
lit.
Right. And I see after that, I see the PLE after SummerSlam maybe going back to 5 or 4, to be honest. Unless something changes, because I think 6 is, I like the 6. And I think, again, it's due to the reasons that's my opinion that I think is causing the 6.
All right. Thank you very much, Dave. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, guys, whatever you think, leave a comment in the comment section of the video once the live is ended. But we've got the live chat going right now. We'll throw your chats up if they're appropriate to be thrown up on the channel here, and we'll address that. We look forward to seeing what you guys think.
I love your Power Ranger Queen of the Ring. So would Io dress up as the Yellow Ranger?
Maybe not in 2026. But unless for some reason that's her favorite. But I don't know. Knowing EO, she would be like Frankensteined all the different colors into like one thing. Or maybe that's more Oscar. But anyway, love the Power Rangers. And love the shout out to Zordon and Alpha 5 behind you. Okay. So it looks like the poll that we had up, we got either 6 or 7 plus was what the votes kind of came to. So, okay. Yeah, I'm supposed to do that. I'm just kidding. All right. So, thank you very much, guys. Now we're going to move on to our major push topic of the evening. Now, the thumbnail of the video is addressing King of the Ring, but we are going to talk a little bit about Queen of the Ring here. Just kind of going to give my thoughts real quick. So, one of the participants is the active potential challenger for the winner of this tournament. She's now in the finals. So WWE has booked themselves into a corner here. Whether Rhea is healthy or not, we'll assume she'll be healthy for SummerSlam. So we'll leave all these things on the table here. Either Io wins and beats a current women's world champion, and then what? Then challenges her. I mean, she was probably going to go challenge Rhea because that seems where it's going. But you just beat Liv. So why wouldn't you challenge the person you just beat? Because you can beat them. Versus Rhea, yes, you've never lost to her, but that streaks aren't going to last forever. I would take the person I just beat a few weeks prior than Rhea, who is my friend, and all of these types of things. So there's that. Or Liv wins and she challenges Rhea for her title. And if she wins, it's a unified championship, which I don't think they're doing. And if she loses, then she doesn't lose her title because her title wouldn't be on the line unless they book it that way. But then that takes away from the champion versus champion crown jewel stuff that they're going to be doing soon. So they really have booked themselves into a corner. Like, Liv should not be in this tournament. She just shouldn't. Period. End of discussion. So I don't really know. I don't think there's a way that they can win this. So I don't want to go too much into this because our real major topic is about the King of the Ring. But anybody have anything they want to add to that thought process? Yes, JJ, and then Dave.
Okay, so if rumors are to be believed, and I always try to start stuff with that right there, the only reason Liv is even in this is because Stephanie Vaquer got injured. So obviously Liv Stephanie was a plan. They were building towards that. Stephanie got injured, had to keep Liv relevant on television, so throw her in the Queen of the Ring. But to your point, they booked themselves into a corner because they could have had Liv lose in the first round. They could have had Liv lose in the semifinals. We didn't have to get Liv all the way to the finals. Okay, great. Liv versus Io. I think the plan all along was for Io to win, face Rhea. Rhea was finally going to get her victory over Io.
Right.
Now there's the possibility that Rhea's injured. May or may not be out for a while. You know, we're trying to assume she'll be good for SummerSlam. Let's also assume that she isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So then what's the point in Io winning?
Right.
Because we're not going to be able to have that payoff of Io versus Rhea. So then you put the belt, you have Liv win. Okay, she's over in Saudi. She won Crown Jewel there. She won the Rumble there. She has the possibility of winning Queen of the Ring there. Like, Liv is huge in Saudi. Almost as over as Sami Zayn. So if she wins, she's going to get a pop from the Saudi crowd because they love her, but she's a heel. How do we keep the heel heat on her? You immediately call Rhea out. Knowing she's injured, take advantage of the situation, pin her, become unified champion. Now, again, to your point, you've backed yourself into a corner. There's no money in the bank currently. You know, that's been pushed back till October. So do you have Liv defend both belts, one on each night at SummerSlam? Possibly. I think Liv is a big enough star that that could be a draw. How do you determine a contender? How long do you leave the belts unified? You know, there's so much in this stew pot that's bubbling with Liv and the Queen of the Ring. Personally, and I know this may shock especially Oofman because he just saw me say in the chat earlier today, I'm not huge on Liv, but I think you give Liv the win here. You immediately have her call out Rhea and beat her, and then you keep her with both belts until Money in the Bank is obtained. Then you have the briefcase potentially being held by Roxanne, cashed in on Liv, and take one of the belts.
I do like that because, again, my biggest concern would have been how do you split them up and how soon do you do that? But if you win money, if you have the Money in the Bank person take it off of her, then you only take one title unless they truly unify it, at which point it would be taking the unified title. But unless they're going to do that with both the men and the women, I mean, they booked themselves into a corner here. Like, it just doesn't, Like Liv could have lost in the first round in a fatal 4-way. She doesn't have to be involved in the finish and whatever. Like, I mean, the fact that Becky's not, it should be Becky this far against EO, because then you could do something with that. You got a heel and a face, and you could do something with that. But either way, we'll see what they end up doing. As of late, even though there's nothing really rising to the top, it seems like their booking and their stuff has been a little bit refreshing and more fun to watch. So we'll see what they have in mind.
I
Now, I
think
really
part
want.
of their problem, I think part of their problem, Gino, is that Queen of the Ring isn't a launching pad for a star anymore. It comes with the title match stipulation.
Right.
You know, so
And
you can't give Queen to somebody like a Chelsea Green who would just be insufferable as Queen and get it over as a gimmick, because she's not going to beat whoever at SummerSlam for the title.
right. And that's why King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring was kind of dumb for a little bit, is because it really was just like a mid-card gimmick to get heat on a heel, like to make them insufferable. Like you said, I know CVV mentioned this a little bit on his Ask CVV, but like, you're right. Like, this isn't a. I mean, it could be a launching pad, but having them have essentially a major match at SummerSlam means that it's got to be somebody who's got some drawing power already, and that really limits themselves. We all know Liv's a bigger draw than EO, but the fans love EO. She just can't sell merchandise because she doesn't have any to sell. So it's just really difficult with that. So thank you so much, JJ, for that 100%. But I really want to see our thoughts on this, because it feels like WWE is looking at things one way and the fans in the IWC are looking at things a different way. Yes, Dave, you were waiting patiently for the women's match.
Yeah, I think you have a great point, Gino. It doesn't make sense if she beats Liv that she doesn't want to beat her again. But this has been all crap. And JJ, I know, mentioned they wanted to keep Liv relevant. You know how they keep her relevant when Stephanie got hurt? Use creative to build another story. They could have had another opponent by now. They could have pulled the trigger on Roxanne, or they could have had EO pull the trigger with her prior and go face Liv for the championship here even. My thought is the person that should have won this, the Queen of the Ring, or should be in it should have been Raquel. They had the story about the Rumble. They've had dissension. Raquel's been pushed back, her and Roxanne, at every point by Liv. Raquel should have won the Queen of the Ring, and they should have gone old school, like what they did with Orton and Batista and Triple H back in the day. They should have made it look like, okay, Liv says we'll have both titles. We'll share. Raquel, you win it. You go after the title. You go after Rhea, and instead of trying to hog it herself. And then they should have had the turnaround where Raquel says, "I'm going against you." That's really how they should have played this. The creative with the Queen of the Ring has been pure crap, in my opinion. And they haven't set this up right. They haven't built it up. I don't think it. And again, Gino, you made sense. It doesn't make sense. If EO wins this, why wouldn't you want to go against Liv and not your best friend? It just, nothing flies with this. And I still think EO's going to win, but I think it's going to be either Stephanie screwing her over or Roxanne finally snapping after what happened at the end of Raw the other night. Because Roxanne was pretty much, Liv talked about everybody but her and just left her out again. They got to build this they've got it at the crescendo. They got to pull the trigger because they're waiting too long again with their stories, and they got to pull the trigger. It's making me crazy with this women's King of the Ring or Queen of the Ring.
Yeah, and because it's basically like the Royal Rumble. You know, you get a title match for winning it. You know, it's basically like Elimination Chamber. You get a title match for winning it, and like having those things be tied to each other really put them into boxes and paint themselves into a corner. Same thing with the with those other matches, with the having annual stipulation things that require certain level of storytelling, like war games and however you want to look at it. So
Mm-hmm.
Uthman made a comment about if it doesn't make sense to us, it makes sense to WWE. So we're
That's
gonna
true.
move on to
Well,
the
that's true. That's true.
right, and I want to try and get in the minds of WWE here because I'm thinking against maybe what I want to see, trying to get in the mind of WWE, and that might already answer Uthman's statement of, yeah, it doesn't seem like those two things are in line. So we have the King of the Ring men's final is going to be Obafemi, the ruler. His whole gimmick is about being like a king. He's basically the king of Wakanda, and that's what one of the things that's so great about him and what he's doing with his character. He's one of those things like tribal combat where I fought my way to the head of my tribe or to my community or however you want to look at it. And he's beaten Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He's getting set up to be the future. At least we know and we can feel that he's going to be the future. Will WWE do it right is one thing. They just had him lose to Lesnar 7 F5s later. It doesn't really matter because people are just talking about that he lost. And Oba's over here still talking about how he's beaten Brock. He didn't talk about really how he lost to Brock except for that one time, and then we're even, yada, yada, yada. But I said going into WrestleMania season that SummerSlam should end with Oba and Trick both as the respective champions. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but at least Trick is going to potentially still be the United States champion. But Oba should be winning this and going on to challenge Roman Reigns, beating Roman Reigns, pretty much handling him, and then that leads you to a star-making performance for Oba. However, WWE has since brought the bloodline back together. And, you know, as you said, it's always around because, it's a family thing. So it's not about splitting up and coming back. It's like it's always going to be the thing. They're always going to be related. It's always going to be a bloodline. Friggin' Jimmy just had a kid, or he's about to have a kid. Right, all these things. Roman's got kids. Jay's got kids. Like, I sound like Heath Slater. They got kids, but the issue then becomes is because this new bloodline is here and Roman is the current champ, like how often in modern WWE, if ever, have we had one faction have both of the men's championships in one faction? Right? We've had the men and women's with Judgment Day. We've seen that done, right? Evolution didn't have that because it had the whole Raquel Liv situation where, I'll go for the other guy. Nope, thumbs down. So it was all the same. They were on the same brand, so they really couldn't be going for other people's championships unless Batista had chose to do that. But this is the opportunity to do something that theoretically, to the best of my knowledge, has never been done before. And I feel like WWE is not going to just have Roman lose the title anymore because he needs to be the head of the table, tribal chief, all of these types of things. And it's just getting started again. Say what you want about whether you like it or not and whether you want it or not. I think that if I'm in the WWE writers room, I'm being like, man, let's have Jay win it. And then he beats, hopefully not Gunther again, but whoever's holding the WWE championship is probably going to be still Cody. But I think the opportunity for Sammy to win it in Saudi is right there. It's right there. And then you could have him, you could theoretically have Jay beat him at SummerSlam, and then the bloodline reigns supreme. And now there's equals, and then that can lead to infighting. No, I'm the WWE champ. Like, this is the title, oh, that's the title I made famous. I'm holding on to this one. I don't even want to carry it to the arenas with me because it's stupid secondary. I'm gonna have my title boy hand it to me, all this type of stuff. Like, there's a lot of room for that. And I think that WWE seems to be hitching their wagon to the bloodline. So, and maybe they push it back to WrestleMania because it seems like only big things can happen at WrestleMania and SummerSlam now. Like, they don't look at like the rest of the year as the opportunity to build stars and do that stuff, seemingly. Everything, it's not black and white with that, but it seems like as soon as WrestleMania happens, they're talking about SummerSlam, and it's building to these things. Thankfully, the Royal Rumble and the Elimination Chamber exists before that, so we have opportunity to and not just have to be towards WrestleMania. But going off on a tangent here. I do think that it should be Oba and build a star, make a star at him at SummerSlam, let him carry through the fall, let him carry through the sweep season, or formerly sweep season for television. Now it's not that so much like that anymore, but let him do that. Do I think that's what they're going to have coming into a football season, coming into baseball playoff season, all this stuff? No. I firmly believe now that they're going to have Jay win it, and I think that you could also do him challenging Roman, but I don't think that's going to happen, right? All these guys now, tail between their legs, following Roman's orders. Roman, he's not listening to me, blah, blah, blah. All that stupid stuff that they're doing. But that's like, it makes sense in the story. So it's not stupid to have it happen. It's just like, it's his goons and whatever. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Because I think that WWE is thinking Jey Uso beats Oba potentially with a Brock Lesnar interference. He's mentioned Brock every single Monday, every chance he gets, he's taking a shot at Brock. Eventually, Brock's going to show up, but it's tough to keep Brock a secret because it's in Saudi. I don't know, guys. JD, I'm going to throw it right over to you. Who do you want to win, and who do you think WWE could do more immediate storytelling with this King of the Ring winner? Go ahead.
Well, who do I want to win is Oba, hands down. From the minute that he got called up to the main roster and had his first interactions with Brock Lesnar, I said on multiple streams, Oba Femi is going to have the Brock Lesnar 2002 run. He's going to win King of the Ring. He's going to get the title shot at SummerSlam, and he's going to beat the cousin of the man that Brock beat at 2002 SummerSlam for his first championship. And it's just going to be so eerie of parallels. But then we've got Jey Uso. And unlike a lot of people, I actually do still like Jey. I don't see him as a good, viable, long-term champion. I see him kind of the way Mick Foley saw himself. I don't know if you've ever heard Mick Foley say this about himself, but he always said, I was never the guy that was going to catch the pass and run it in for the touchdown. But I was the guy you could hand the ball off to, run it for a few yards, go out of bounds, and get you the first down, while you figured out who you wanted to get the ball to get you that touchdown. I see Jey Uso in that position. He's the guy you can give the ball to, run a few yards down the field, go out of bounds, get the first down. You got to pause, move the chains down the field, reset. As far as it comes with Oba, I think the major thing with him is, if he wins, does he actually dethrone Roman? Because while Roman is going to be going to hiatus, he's only full-time through SummerSlam, all signs there would tick, yes, yes, yes. It makes perfect sense for him to beat Roman and take the title. Street Fighter comes out in October. Press, media is going to be done going into that movie. You want Cody and Roman to still be your champions for all that press? Or do you want them to lose the belts just before they have to do that media tour?
That's a great question.
At the end of the day, WWE is a business. What's better business? Seeing a red carpet where two of the actors in the movie are your world champions? Or seeing a red carpet where two of the guys in the movie just got their asses beat?
I think that's a very good point. Now, just to play devil's advocate to that, because I do think that's such a great point, I think that somebody going against that would say, well, they need the time off to do that type of intense media junket tour And if they're not going to be on WWE television because they can't make it or whatever, maybe. But I mean, they did this coming out of SummerSlam or coming out of WrestleMania. It was like the champions for the movie. They're starting to promote the movie, this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, at the same time, WWE doesn't, from what I understand, it's not a WWE Films movie.
Right.
So WWE could give a crap theoretically. But I do think that, you know, they might be saying like, hey, you know, this, that, and the other thing, but it's just tough because you make a great point, and that's where it's like, what's good for the business and what's good for the industry and what's good for WWE when it comes to building new stars for the future, or are we going to look at what's right in front of our nose and be, I don't want to say short-sighted because that's not the right word for it, but like, are we thinking, you know, about the next 5 to 10 years, right? I think Street Fighter personally, and I won't say this in the group chat because, you know, some people look at things certain ways and I don't want to argue, but I don't think this movie's going to make a lot of money. Everybody who thinks that Street Fighter is this massive IP and all this stuff, as a video game, yes. Okay, sometimes people like to see the thing in the medium that they love with it in, and when you're playing, we just had Mortal Kombat 2, and it did all right, and this is the sequel now to a not a great movie, admittedly, but I had fun with it, and I was there in the theater to see it. I'll be there to see Street Fighter in the theater. But Pokemon is the biggest brand in the world, and they made a movie and it made like $500 million. So just because there's massive amounts of fans of a franchise doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to all show up to that movie. So I don't know how big of a impact that the movie is going to have, like, on the industry and stuff. It looks like a lot of fun. Trailers look fun, all that stuff. Like, I'm excited to see it, but it also looks dumb. Like, dumb fun, but it kind of looks dumb to a certain degree, right? Like Masters of the Universe, oh, you know, whatever. They're bringing these 80s franchises in, and some of them aren't performing as well, even if they're good. But I think that the opportunity for that movie to actually be like a good, maybe even get nominated for an award, not there. Is it going to be a fun time? I sure hope so. Yes, JJ.
To piggyback off of your devil's advocate role there, we're used to seeing Roman take extended breaks. So for Roman to leave as champion for an extended amount of time for this media tour, nothing different.
Right.
Meanwhile, Cody is a student of your GOAT. And let's not forget that when your GOAT was filming The Marine, 12 Rounds, you know, some of those other WWE films, he was on set Tuesday through Sunday, but he was back on Raw on Monday.
Okay.
Cody's very much a student of that philosophy. He'll be doing that media tour Tuesday through Sunday. Wherever they need him to go for Street Fighter, he's promoting that movie. He'll be back on Raw. He'll be back on SmackDown on Friday.
Yeah,
and then he'll be back on that media tour.
You're absolutely right. You can do both. I mean, you know, filming schedule and a media tour have that same style of schedule, but sometimes you might be traveling a little bit. It just depends on the movie and the project. So we'll have to see. And if WWE wants to piggyback off of the promotion of Street Fighter for their wrestlers, then that could be their way of saying, well, we don't really care about enhancing Street Fighter, but the more people that see Street Fighter that aren't WWE fans, maybe they'll come over to WWE. You know, it's funny. Cody's starting to look more and more just like Guile to me in general. So I see him, I'm like, that's like, it's Guile. But all right, so we're gonna move on now to Uthman. Uthman, you know, we've heard us kind of bounce around a bunch of different areas in here, but to back to the original question here is who do you want to win, and what do you see WWE wanting from this King of the Ring final?
Well, like everyone, I think I want Oba to win. It just, again, if it makes sense to us, it doesn't make sense to them. This is the reverse now. But now I'm reading some rumblings in the intranet that maybe they're going to save Roman and and Oba for WrestleMania next year. It's like, I hope not. I must flash again. I'm the flashback guy of YouTube. Let's go back to 1993, 94 with Lex Luger. Like, why didn't they give him the belt at SummerSlam? Because Vince wanted to crown him at WrestleMania 10. Well, as we headed to WrestleMania 10, the fans were just not buying Lex Luger. That's why we had the Royal Rumble 94 end like it did with Brett and Lex Luger. Referee lifts Lex Luger's hand. We got a couple of cheers. The referee lifts Brett's hand, and the roof explodes. And then look what happened at Mania 10. So I hope they don't wait to pull the trigger on Oba till Saudi Mania next year, because that's still a long time. The whole Lesnar thing, again, had Oba beaten Lesnar at Clash, then it would make sense for Lesnar to cost Oba either the finals or maybe the match at the SummerSlam for the title. But I don't understand this Oba picking a fight with why are you going to poke the bull? Why are you going to stab the bull in the eye? And it makes zero logical sense. But like I said, if it doesn't make sense to us, it makes sense to WWE. So I hope Oba wins it. I hope there's no shenanigans, but there will be. And I hope he goes. And if it is true that Roman is going to go away, all right, I like having champions on the shows. Like MJF is on the shows. He's maybe not wrestling, but at least he's there. It's nice to see. As you can see, I'm the belt guy. I like to see the belts on the shows to show like, hey, you're the champion and you're there. Cool. We've gone through Roman disappearing with the belts before. I don't want to see the sequels. Sometimes the sequels are not better than the original. There's the exception, The Dark Knight, Terminator 2. But other than that, the sequels don't do better than the original. So if Roman is still champion and he has to do this press tour, but like I said, like you said, Gino, and JJ said it too, it is a business. Like when The Rock was champion, when he beat CM Punk, he was going on Tonight Show. He had the belt with him. It makes the company look good. And we just saw the New York Knicks win the NBA championship. What was the first thing that I saw during the celebration? I saw a WWE championship belt. So to see the belts at the red carpet, like you guys are saying, for business is good. It's WWE going like, hey, look, shiny little thing and all that. And again, and plus, as the new belts are made today with the huge network logo, as we know them as, the logo is front and center. It would be, I hate to use the phrase, but it's good for business on that end. So I truly hope it's Oba. If Lesnar does interfere, I've been reading people saying, well, what about Oba and Lesnar night 1 of the SummerSlam? Then you have Oba and Roman night 2. Sure, have Lesnar try to cost Oba the finals, have it backfire, and then Oba wins King of the Ring, goes to the SummerSlam, but then you just have now Lesnar sticking his nose in, going like, no, let's end our confrontation first. Have it, again, them night 1, then Oba goes for the title night 2, maybe something like that. I don't know if it's overexposure for Oba. I know he's over now, but maybe that's too much too soon. Who knows? Like you spoke about a couple weeks ago, are they putting the brakes on Oba because they don't want him to get a big head, or pull a Lesnar of 2004 where, you know what? No, I think I could do better somewhere else. And like we said earlier with the Queen of the Ring, like I think they just backed themselves into a corner logically. But again, using logic in an illogical situation, I wish they would have had Oba go 2-0 on Lesnar, so Lesnar could be the one attacking Oba versus Oba for reasons poking at the bear. So in the end, I hope Oba wins, and then we'll go from there. But we still have time. We'll find out on Saturday. Will there be shenanigans? I do predict there'll be shenanigans, but I hope Lesnar tries to interfere. It backfires. So now it gives Lesnar now more reasons to go after Oba versus just like, oh, you called me the B word. Oh, apparently that's the trigger word in wrestling, the B word, and your nuts are in your wife's purse, I guess. I don't know. Or calling someone old. So I don't like how we got here, but we are here. The show is a couple days away. Hopefully it makes sense and it's entertaining, but I guess we just have to literally wait and find out to see what they do.
Yeah, we will. And shout out to Vinny. He's had a couple comments here in the chat that I've been pulling up on the screen. His most recent one, I really think that Oba on both nights is overkill. I hate my top guys wrestling both nights on the same PLE. You know, I kind of see where you're coming from there on that as well, That is the rumor, but I mean, you don't want to make Roman look too weak, and somebody beating you on the second night of a back to back. It's like in basketball or baseball or something. It's like that's like it looks really bad. Like I don't think Roman loses anything just losing straight up to Oba, but him going through hell with Brock, barely winning against Brock, and then coming back and like having enough energy the next night, like that, I think is not helpful to Roman. So you got to, we're trying to balance all these pieces and stuff. And at the end of the day, there will be shenanigans. We've got Jey Uso, the Bloodline, Solos, MFTs, and all that stuff kind of coming into the play here. You got Brock looming. Somebody's going to get involved in this match, and it just depends on who's going to end up winning. Now, Dave, you've been patient. We appreciate that. What are your thoughts when it comes to who you want to win this King of the Ring match, and what you think WWE actually might go with? It's not necessarily a prediction; it's just kind of where their headspace might be at.
It's great points by JJ and Uthman and you. I'm gonna be devil's advocate again to JJ. Roman went away. They definitely don't want a champion that's going to be going away. So he said when he won this time, he's going to be around. So the key is if he is going to possibly be here longer than the summer, he may keep the title. But I'm definitely with Uthman. I'm sick of the part-time champions. And if they wait till WrestleMania to put Oba in that spot, it's the biggest mistake because I think he brought up a great point. Lex Luger was as hot as a firecracker, and they cooled him off. And it just if they can't screw up this. This is something that the way they brought him in with beating Brock, and definitely he should have gone 2-0 against them. And at this point, definitely I want Oba to win. But when is Brock going to try to screw him if he is? Is it going to be against Jey? Or is he going to wait till SummerSlam? Or is he going to wait till after the match with Jey? And I know how you feel about making Roman look weak, but the way they backed themselves in the corner, and Uthman just mentioned this, JJ talked about Liv maybe doing double duty at SummerSlam. The only way to take themselves out of this is because of the bad storytelling with Oba calling out Brock is Oba wins this match against Jey with trying to be interference from everybody. And then Brock's still pissed off at him and says, I want to wrestle you at SummerSlam in the first night. It's going to be your championship chance against Roman versus my career. I mean, it sounds like a crazy idea, but everybody's been saying is Brock retiring in Minnesota in his home where he was from. I mean, you could do that. That's the only way to get out of the storytelling because you can't get away from Brock Oba 3 the way Oba's been calling him out. There's no way to get around that at this point because and that's what I mean by bad storytelling. There's no reason for Oba to call Brock out anymore. You should be concentrating on winning King of the Ring and getting the title. That's it. Because the only other way is, and supposedly we have Brock Oba at SummerSlam, but the only other way is wait till he wins King of the Ring and then challenge him for the title. But that won't be at a big pay-per-view then. Because we all know that Roman's going to be main event night 2 no matter what. There's no chance he won't be. So it's oh God, it's so hard to say. I like Jey too. I'm like JJ. I like Jey. I don't think he needs another title run. I don't think he needs to be. I don't think he's a strong enough person to have in a main event of a major pay-per-view. I really don't. I know he's way over. I just don't think he's a main event person. They've been calling him that, but I don't think he's the main event of SummerSlam top type. I'm sorry. I just don't. I think the best main event you could have that night 1 would be Oba and Roman. It would be Cody and whoever, and then have Oba and Roman on night 2. But it's all signs are pointing towards Jey winning this, and I just I'm torn right now. I know we have a prediction show coming up, and I'm torn on that. Who's going to win that match because it's just I don't know. I'm so confused about the where they're going with this story at this point. Because it's just making I think it's making Oba look like he's indecisive. Does he want to fight Brock more than winning the title? He should have been talking only about winning King of the Ring and then taking out whoever. Leave Oba in the background. I mean, leave Brock in the background and wait on that because now we know Brock has to have a match at SummerSlam. So if it's not Oba, then is it Gunther? Because Gunther's going to probably lose this weekend. And you're not going to leave him off SummerSlam, and we got 2 months to go. So there's plenty of time to build stories here. But I'm just confused. Part of me thinks Oba's going to come through, but part of me thinks either, and we haven't even talked about when Jacob Fatu and Roman were talking in the back at the end of that show one night, and he was whispering something to him. Is he going to maybe get involved at the end of that match to make sure Jay gets the title chance? So I just don't. I think somehow Jay's going to win. But I can't see him pinning Oba. I can't. But I mean, without shenanigans, there has to be because if they pin or tap him out, they're going to do to him what they did to Gunther when they had Jay tap Gunther out. They're going to it's going to ruin him. But at this point, I think that Jay's going to go forward.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they decide. Again, this is one of those things where they've kind of booked themselves into a corner, like we've said. And I remember hearing on CVV lately that every winner of the King of the Ring has gone on to challenge their brand's champion. So that also could be very telling. We'll just have to see. But yeah, man, I know the hate for Jey Uso is wicked strong. And I've been not shy about giving him grief for his entrance endurance and things like that. But it does seem like while it's not a lock, what the decisions are, like the predictability of it isn't there, I don't think that's for the right reasons. Right. And that's where it becomes are they trying? Are they coasting? Because Triple H told us he has an end game in mind, and then how we get there is just how we get there. And that's not. I don't think that's how
And
it's
if they
necessarily been done in the past.
And if they screw up Oba, they're screwing up that big. They keep saying they need somebody. We keep talking about here and on No DQ, and you mentioned it again on the review the other night. We don't have a face behind Cody. We need something. And if you're going to screw up this guy could definitely should be getting that Lesnar treatment because if they're looking back at what Lesnar did after everything happened, you can't compare him and Oba together. Oba's not an MMA fighter. He was never in it. Brock was. Brock had done other things. He had gone off to professional football. He'd gone off everywhere. Oba's not that, and you can't compare him 20 years later. You gotta push this guy now. If you don't push him to the moon, they're gonna lose him. And it's a mistake if he doesn't get that title at SummerSlam. It's a mistake.
I would tend to agree with you on that. All right. Looks like we're all caught up with the chats. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. On a week where there's a lot of good in wrestling, but nothing really rising to the top about what we talk about in the week past. But just kind of looking forward to what we have. Again, the show is during the day on Saturday. So, like Usman, I won't be able to watch it live. I'll be at the Red Sox Yankees game in a suite, getting hammered drunk on free alcohol and free food. So that will be what I will be doing then. And then I will watch the event when I come home. And because on the high seas for Double or Nothing, I had a great time with that. I will be exploring watching the AEW pay-per-view on Sunday. So With that being said, I want to thank you guys for joining us. We're going to go around and do our little bit of our plugs, and then we'll get back to having a wonderful Wednesday and see what that go home show for AEW is all about. Dave, thank you so much for joining us once again. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, can find me here with you on Major Push, can find me on No DQ with some of the reviews and also the prediction shows. Find me on Gabbing with Oof. I was sorry I missed his Steve Austin show the other night, but I'm going to be there for our finale with our Nitro and going back to the good old days of the Monday Night Wars when we do it. And it was good seeing JJ again. I got to meet him for the first time last week. And of course, seeing Oofman and you again, it's been great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for joining us. It's our pleasure. And Oofman making this all possible. It looks like you've already linked Aaron's secondary channel with the account, so I should be able to be sending stuff there. I'm going to just make sure and if he wants Major Push Wrestling to air simultaneously on his thing, we'll do that. If he doesn't, maybe I'll just upload the clips of our thoughts. So we'll see. I'm talking to him about that. But shout out to Oofman for allowing our live streams to happen so smoothly. Oofman, where can the people find you?
Yes, so check out my channel. Oofman Entertainment presents Gabbing with Oof. Again, I'm the retrospect guy. I'm talking about the past, which is cool. I have my, like Dave said, I got the 30th anniversary celebration of the formation of the NWO, episodes 24 and 25, where when Scott Hall re-debuted, and then the second episode is part 2 is talking about his big surprise. Both are pushing 200 views. So to all who have watched, thank you. Those who haven't watched, please go back and check that out. Tomorrow night, I'll be doing AEW Forbidden Door predictions with some of other people be joining me as well. And then we're marching towards July when we hit part 3 of the NWO perspective of the third man in the big match at Bash at the Beach, July 1996. And who knows who that third man is, even though we know who it is. But yeah, so thank you all for checking them out. Gino has popped up in my channel. Thank you for those, again, who watched it. Our episode on talking about the critics, speaking about movies, we spoke about the critics bashing the Michael movie because they didn't see certain things. It's gotten great reviews as well. So yeah, so I'm chock full of stuff there and more things to come. So shout out to Gino. Thanks to JJ and to Dave and everybody else who's helped me make this channel awesome. So check it out. Just it's over here. Check it out. Just type in Oofman Entertainment. Don't just type in Oofman because there is another Oofman out there. Because who doesn't Google themselves? I just typed in Oofman the other day. Yeah, and I was like, who is this? There's some artist out there calling himself Oof Space Man. That is not me. So don't check his channel out. Check mine out. It's Oofman Entertainment. So just a wise thing. Just don't type in Oofman out there and be like, oh, it's him. No, type in Oofman Entertainment. You'll find my series, Gabbing with Oof, and check out the videos there. And like I said, much more coming. But again, though, to Papayino, thank you, my brother from another mother, for letting me be on your show this week.
Absolutely. And yeah, I said at the beginning of the show, sometimes we're seeing these videos, but we're not subscribed. I just realized that the Major Push Wrestling YouTube show was not following or subscribing to Oofman Entertainment. We just got that taken care of. So shout out to Oofman and go check him out and go check Dave out. And last but certainly not least, our debut, hopefully first of very many more, the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams, who's had he was gracious enough to bring me on to do an interview with one of the wrestlers who I am now a big fan of after that interview. So whether you like listening or whether you like participating, JJ, where can the people find you?
Well, I'm all over the internet. You can find me on Instagram at the Renegade JJ Williams. You can find me on X at Casa D18 Studio. My YouTube channel is Casa D18 Studios with an S. Also on X, you can follow SR Studios 2024. That's the account for the Simply Reliable Studios. Myself, Noah, and Walter all have access to it. I'm just the one that's the most active on it. That's where we promote all our upcoming interviews and big things. We do have an interview coming tomorrow with the Pro Wrestling Symphony Tag Team Champions, Royal Prestige, Kayvon Jordan and Majestic. We've also got some bigger names in the pipe. Haven't officially announced some of them yet, but I do know we've announced come the end of July, once the 90-day no compete is done, we will be welcoming former Wyatt Six member Joe Gacy for an interview. So got all that coming up. But yeah, follow, like, subscribe. Subscribe to Rage of Wrestling on YouTube. That's Walter's channel. He is 59 away from his 300 goal. So make sure that you subscribe to him there. Once he hits 300, if he gets there by SummerSlam, him and the missus are doing the Hot Ones Challenge. So that should be fun entertainment on his channel. So Rage of Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
Absolutely, yeah. Go support everybody. Yeah, JJ, just go ahead and send me the whatever links you want me to use for the description, and I'll put those in here when I get a moment. Yeah, speaking of that, guys, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers here on the channel, 975 right now. Like, we've been trucking along, however you want to say it, whether it's the Rocket League content, the movie talk, the TV talk, the wrestling, Major Push Wrestling, food reviews, whatever it is, guys, whatever you're here for, I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to share this video with people that like wrestling. If you like Rocket League and other video game stuff, come back here when you see those videos pop up. But all you got to do is subscribe. It's fun and it's free. Hit that like button. It means the world. Besides watching our videos, the best way you can support is by giving it a comment, giving it a like, getting it into the algorithm of stuff that people are engaging with, and watching for a long period of time. Even if you're like, oh, I can't really watch it right now, but you can put it on in the background or whatever. It all helps. We appreciate it. And yeah, well, that's all I got to say. So I wanted to thank Dave, Oofman, and JJ so much for joining me. Happy Wednesday, y'all. And we will see you guys next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking some more wrestling, most likely reviewing what happened at the Night of Champions Premium Live event, and maybe if something great happens at AEW again, that will be discussed as well. And also, cheap plug for Noah and I doing the Predictions League breakdown, which will be on this channel and on Noah's channel, either Monday or Wednesday prior to this show going live. So go check all that out. Go check out all the guys. Super awesome. Shout out to Aaron Rift and the No DQ Review, No DQ Galaxy, for bringing everybody together. And yeah, guys, that's all we got for you. Go have a great night. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.